Hello, class. Welcome to New Testament Survey. This is the spring semester of 2021, and I hope to introduce this class a bit to you in this opening lecture. So, as I said, this is Bible 124, New Testament Survey, and I'm Mark Matson. I'm your instructor this semester. I don't think I may have had only one or two of you last semester in Old Testament, so I'd like to get to know one another, and one of the first things I'd like you to do in this class is to go into the opening discussion that says introduce yourself, found in the module section in Canvas, and introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about yourself, about your interests, your major, anything else that will help me and your classmates get to know you better, so that we can engage together over this semester. I've already put an introduction to myself in that opening introduction, and so we'll hopefully get a chance to, even though we're not going to be in class together, we'll spend time together in this online situation. Now, as you know, you have chosen the online only option for New Testament, rather than sitting in the in-person class. And so all the New Testament classes, all the students who've chosen online have all been put into this one particular class that's going to be purely online. Now, as a result of the fact that we have a variety of students in different schedules, this class is going to be taught asynchronously. So let me describe what I mean by that and give you a little bit of a hint of what this means, and I'll go in a little bit more detail in the rest of this lecture. What it means is that we're not going to actually meet together at the same time. That's what asynchronously means. Each one of you will work more or less independently with your own reading, your video lectures, weekly tests, and so for the most part, everybody's going to be more or less operating independently in their own time schedule. But we will come together a little bit. Our time together is going to be by means of a threaded discussion each week. And I'm going to come to that a little bit more in a bit. But that's going to be pretty important for us to have some kind of a class together type of situation. Now, before we go any farther, I do want to suggest that you do take the time to download and print out the syllabus that's found on the syllabus page in Canvas. There's a lot of information there about grading and such that I think is really important. If we were having this class in class, I would actually hand out a printed copy of that and spend a little bit more time with that. But for the most part, I just want you to have that and spend a little time looking at it. In particular, and I'll talk about this more when we get to the section on papers, there is an appendix in there, Appendix A, that deals with my expectations for written papers, and that's going to be really important for the two papers that we have in this class. So let's talk a little bit about how this class will function as we gear up for the rest of this semester. So each week, I've arranged these by weeks, and each week has a separate structure in the module section in Canvas. And the very first page, or the first entry in the modules for each week, is an assignment page. And here I've summarized everything that you need to do for that week. So in some ways, you could turn to this every week and just have a sense of what you need to do. So let me kind of walk through the basic construction of what you can expect every week, and then at the very end we'll talk about some of the things that don't happen every week but are also important in this course. So first of all is reading. Obviously, since we're not together 3 hours a week for lectures, reading is going to be more important. So in addition to the Bible, which I have reading assigned from our Common English Bible, that's the same Bible that we had last semester in Old Testament and that all of us use in New Testament and Old Testament. I've added for this particular class also a supplement, a textbook. And that textbook is Jerry Sumney's The Bible, an Introduction. And you need to get that as soon as possible. We're going to start right off the bat with some material in there. Jerry's a good friend of mine. He teaches now up at Lexington Theological Seminary. He originally actually taught at a small college similar to Milligan up in Virginia. And so this book I think will be helpful in giving us a little bit more background information. So each week they'll be reading from the Bible, from the textbook that I just talked about, and then also on the pages in Canvas, I have a cluster of kind of lecture notes. As if I were giving you a lecture, these kind of notes summarize a lot of the material that I think is awfully important. So that's the reading for each week, and that will be outlined in the assignment section each week. In addition, I do have some video lectures. Normally, each week there'll be one or two of these lectures that help explain the material. Now, none of them are going to be the normal hour-long section that we might have if we were sitting in class. And certainly there's not 3 of them each week. They generally run 15-20 minutes or so, but hopefully they help explain some of the material, especially some things that I want to help particularly hone in on. So make sure you watch those video lectures. And then, as I indicated, our time together is really this weekly discussion. And this is a crucial part of this class, the way I've constructed it asynchronously. In fact, 20% of the grade will come from these discussions, so you don't want to kind of overlook this. But what I want to try to do is to replicate in some ways an in-class situation and have you engage the topics with one another. I'll be there constantly kind of hovering over it and adding notes and asking questions periodically. But to a great extent, you're going to be engaging with one another. I'll usually pose an initial topic to get us started, and I want you to then to engage that topic, and then that will prompt thoughts from one another as you proceed forward. Also, you always feel free to add new ideas that come up from your reading, things that bother you or questions, and I'll always be there to answer questions if you have situations where you just don't understand. To make sure that we really engage this each week, I'm going to be asking you to make your first post by Tuesday each week. And in fact, you're not going to be able to see one another's posts until you first post yourself. That's kind of like your entry card to get into the discussion. Once you post on Tuesday, you need to post by Tuesday to be able to get full credit. Then you can see everybody else's posts. You can engage there. And I'm going to ask that you then post at least 4 times during the week over successive days, not all on the same day. And again, part of the grade will be based upon whether you've done this over numerous days. And also whether your posts engage the reading at all. So those are the kind of basis by which I'm going to grade these discussions every week. Did you make a post first of all on Tuesday? Did you post 4 more times over successive days, and have you engaged the reading in the posts? So this is a big part of the class. And then every week we're going to have a quiz. And this will be over the material for just that week, so it's fairly focused. I will open up a window for that test for you on Friday evening at 5 o'clock, and you have until Saturday evening at 5 o'clock to take it. Now, it's going to be important. Here is another big part of the grade. 25% of the total grade is from these weekly tests. So you don't want to miss these by simply ignoring the fact that you have a 24-hour window to take them. If you want to really make sure you get to nail down the high scores on here, I've provided a number of practice quizzes that you can take each week to prepare, and these will really help you get close to, if you want to, you can get close to 100% if you work hard. So we have weekly tests, and then we have some issues that don't happen every week that make up the remaining part of the grade. I have 2 written papers over the period of the semester, and they came to 20% total of the grade. Each one is 10% of the grade. And as I noticed earlier before, there's a section on the printed syllabus with guidelines to writing. I want you to pay particular attention to that. And as we gear up close to the first paper, I'll remind you of that and point out some issues about what I'm looking for. Although we have weekly tests, about midway through the course, there's going to be a midterm that is comprehensive up to that point. Instead of the weekly quiz that week, will be a midterm. And for the most part, these midterms And weekly tests are mostly multiple choice, true, false, some matching, things like that. Every once in a while I'll ask a little bit of an essay, short answer essay. At the end of the semester, naturally, there'll be a final exam, and like we did probably in the fall if you had Old Testament, there'll be the common exam that everybody takes, and there will be an exam of my own based upon the material I have. I haven't yet decided whether you need to be joining the rest of the class in a sit-down exam at that point for the final exam point. I'll have to consult with the other professors about that. It's likely that you will join us for the in-class exam for that final exam. All right, now asynchronous courses aren't everybody's cup of tea, and they can be difficult for some students. And the biggest issue on a consistent basis, because I teach an online version of Old Testament and New Testament every semester here, usually for degree completion students, the biggest problem that I have is time management. That is, the students, especially undergraduate students, regular undergraduate students, oftentimes, if they don't have a class schedule to go to, they oftentimes neglect the self-regulate. So the important thing in making this course work for you is to set a schedule and keep it on a regular basis. Now, I suggest that you do a little bit of the reading for each week, a little bit before the Tuesday discussion, just to kind of get your feet on the ground. Make your first post on Tuesday. Continue to read. Check in regularly during the week, so maybe say Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Check in on the discussion groups just a little bit, see if there's something interesting that you'd like to respond to. So kind of set yourself every day for just a little bit of work, and then make sure that you set an alarm to always take the test at the end of the week. In other words, the success in this class is going to be to a great extent based upon staying regular with the opportunities. So you're actually can do very well in here if you just stay very regular and stay on top of material. So stay on top of your schedule and do the best you can there, and I think you'll be quite successful. Now, I want you to know that I'm always here to help. So even though this is asynchronous and we're not going to be in class together face to face, I'm constantly here watching it. I will be reading every day the discussions. I do that every day. Frequently, I will jump into the discussion to answer a question, to ask a question, to prompt or steer things in a little bit to see if we can't add some additional depth to our discussions. If I do ask a question in there, I really think it's useful if you actually do respond. Usually it's my attempt to get some further thought on a particular issue. If you have questions that you would like to ask either me or anybody else, ask them. Especially, if we're talking, for instance, on the Gospel of Mark, and you have something that you noticed as you read the Gospel of Mark that wasn't in the prompt, jump in, ask it. This is a classroom, and I'm there to answer any questions, and others might have interesting observations as well, and so we can learn from one another. So I'm always going to be kind of hovering over the discussion, watching to see if you drop off in engagement, and if I notice that you're over a couple of weeks kind of falling off, I'll probably send you a note and nudge you to get you started again. So just be aware that I'm here to help. I want to make sure that you are successful. I'm always available by email or phone. Those are in the syllabus, but I have them here on this slide. My email is easy to find, and also you can email me through Canvas. And my cell number is here, 483-8101. You can text me with a question, and of course you can ask to meet with me. If you're here on campus, I'm here. I'll be here on campus just about every day. I do ask that you make an appointment to meet with me during this pandemic. I'm trying to be very careful about my own contact. So, but I want to meet, and so feel free to contact me if you'd like to have any kind of in-person, face-to-face contact. Other than that, I'm hoping that this is going to be a very successful class for you, that you'll learn a lot about the New Testament, and that you'll be excited about the New Testament. I am. I tend to get very excited about it. It's what I have studied for a number of years, and it's to me an endlessly interesting. And I hope I can pass some of that interest on to you. So, welcome to this class. Let's get started. We'll jump right in, beginning on Monday. Thank you. Bye-bye.